I'm Ed Russell, and we're here at Russell Woodworks. This is my brother's business, but my brother and I own this property here in Benicia, right adjacent to the railroad tracks. And I am concerned about the oh, very interesting. We got a loaner there, Kansas City. The expansion of the railroads, the new renaissance of moving energy from the Dakotas or the middle of America, and also other commodities like coal to the west coast, right past my property. Some of it would be destined here for Valero.
The development of new oil technologies, most notably fracking, has opened up new oil fields in the U.S. and reduced the need to import oil from overseas. Oil that once came to refineries like the Valero refinery in Benicia, California by ocean-going tanker, now is arriving by rail. Crude by rail imports to California have increased 900%, with most of this oil coming from the Bakken oil shale in North Dakota. Curiosity about the oil moving by rail turned into alarm when an oil train exploded in July 2013 in Lac Mégantic, Quebec, incinerating 42 people. Communities across the US and Canada demanded to know what could be done to ensure their safety and protect the environment from oil spills. The environmental community began to advocate against moving crude by rail as part of a broader campaign to end fossil fuel use to address climate change. Debate is playing out in Benicia and Solano County, where Valero has asked for permission to retrofit its yard to receive crude by rail.
The main concern here is the sheer volume of what they're asking. They will increase the traffic on the local rail lines here into the industrial park by at least 3 or 4 times. It's not going to be a slight increase. They say it's only going to be a couple 50-car trains a day, but the real control over that movement is not going to be dictated by Valero, it's dictated by the railroads, and the railroads have a federal preemption, and they have publicly stated that they are not under authority of local control, and they will not agree to any specific restrictions or timing of their movements.
The oil industry is also concerned about the oil train derailments and the tanker car explosions.
My name's Tupper Hull. I'm Vice President of Communications for the Western States Petroleum Association. We represent the major oil companies that both produce oil in California and also refine it and supply it to market here. The ability to move crude by rail from production in the United States and North America to the California market does have major implications for consumers. And I want to be clear that this is not an inconsequential question. Right now we get about 50% of our oil from foreign countries, and it comes here in ships. And those countries, many of which are not terribly friendly to the United States, subject us to a level of volatility and a level of questionable supply from time to time. So the more oil that we're able to use from very stable, friendly, American, U.S. produced fields is in our best interest and in the interest of consumers, and has it places downward pressure on prices. And so as communities and individuals evaluate rail safety, the impact and the potential risks of transporting crude by rail, it's important to recognize that there are tremendous benefits to California and to consumers, that we have the ability to make use of this North American product in our markets here, because we don't have any other way to get it here. There are no pipelines that can bring this product into California. It will get here one of 2 ways, either in ships or in rail cars. And so making sure both modes of transport are available and safe really is the job at hand.
The Obama administration recently announced new requirements for stronger rail tanker cars, but left rules about what goes in the cars and the volatility of what goes in the cars to the states. It also has done little to require the railroads to inform communities about when oil trains are coming through. The railroad industry also is resisting attempts to require notification.
I've met with folks, local officials, community folks, regulators, public safety individuals, the railroads themselves, people that work at the refineries, trying to figure out how we can do this in a way that will make sure that we still have jobs, we still have crude to refine, and that we have the safest possible conditions for our communities. And that's what we're trying to do in this bill. We're trying to reduce the volatility of what's being transported. We're trying to make sure that the rail cars within which the crude is transported are the safest that they can possibly be. And if this bill were to be passed and signed into law today, it would immediately take about 38,000 less safe cars off the tracks. And that's very, very important that we do that. We also need to make sure that we have constant communication and transparency with local public safety folks, so folks know what's coming through their areas, when it's coming through their areas, so if, heaven forbid, there's an accident, they can respond.
Ending reliance on fossil fuels is a necessary long-term goal, but achieving that goal must not get in the way of taking immediate steps to ensure the safety of communities crisscrossed by rail lines.